Winter Roses, Summer, by fairytalelovr. Chapter 4, House Starling. John was out hunting in the Wolfswood with Rob and Theon when they heard the crash. They turned their horses back towards the King's Road, where the sound had come from, and upon arrival saw an overturned carriage. The few soldiers escorting it were trying to rein in the horses and help the carriage occupant to his feet. 3 of them dismounted near the crash.
"Do you men need any help?" Rob asked. "No, we don't, so you bastards can just fuck off," one of the guards snapped as he struggled with his horses. "You are speaking to Robb Stark, son and heir of Lord Eddard Stark, Lord of Winterfell, Lord Paramount of the North, and Warden of the North," Theon said. "Watch your manners." "My apologies, my lord. We're just frustrated, is all," said another guard. "What happened?" Rob asked, waving them off. "Carriage overturned, my lord." "And who is the passenger?"
The occupant of the carriage limped towards them, looking uncomfortable. "I'm Samwell Tarly, Lord Robb, son of Randall Tarly, Lord of Hornhill."
"You're very far away from the Reach, Lord Samwell," John said, when it looked like Rob was having a hard time to place House Tarly.
"I'm on my way to Castle Black, Lord."
"It's a long way for an upturned carriage," Rob interrupted. "Come with us to Winterfell. It is but 2 miles away, and we'll send men to help bring your carriage in and fix it. I insist,"
he added when it looked like Samwell was going to refuse. One of the guards helped the awkward man onto a horse, and followed as they made their way to Winterfell. Once there, Theon went to fetch the men to go and get the carriage, and Rob went to go and get Ned. So John started leading Samwell to the Great Hall.
"You don't seem like the sort to want to join the Night's Watch,"
John said. "Because I'm fat?" Sam asked defensively.
"No," John replied, smiling, "because you look like you'd prefer a book in your hand rather than a sword."
Samwell flushed.
"I'm John, by the way, Jon Snow."
He watched as the other's eyes widened. Oh, you're the one betrothed to the Lady Daenerys Targaryen, aren't you?"
"Yes," John agreed, wanting to roll his eyes.
Is that all he was? The one betrothed to the Lady Daenerys?
"Now, why would you want to join the Watch, Samwell? I doubt you're here of your own free will. You're a noble, but you're travelling without a sword. And if you were a warrior, you'd be riding a horse, not inside of a carriage."
"You can call me Sam," he said with a big sigh. "And I suppose... well, I suppose it doesn't matter now. And if anyone could understand, maybe you can. I mean, you have a lordship waiting for you, but..."
"Sam, whatever it is, I can't help you."
Sam laughed. "You can't. You see, my father... House Tarly is known for its military excellence. You're right, I'm no good with a sword. Can't ride well either. My father, he doesn't like that. He'd rather my younger brother, who is a proper warrior, was his heir. So
he asked you to renounce?"
"More like he forced me to. He took me aside on my name day and said that I could join the Watch, or he would take me into the woods to hunt, and then I would suffer an accident on our way back to the castle. No one would question a spooked horse after I died."
"That's despicable," John said with a clenched jaw.
"Well, what could I do, really?" Sam shrugged.
"Why didn't he send you to the Citadel?"
"Because the Order of the Maesters expects a gift of money when taking in the son of a lord. And my father said he wasn't going to throw away any money on a lost cause. Besides, he expects the Night's Watch might make a man out of me."
John was furious. What kind of father could do that to his own son?
He didn't have long to seethe on his anger, as Rob and Ned came into the room.
"Lord Samwell," Ned said, "my sons told me you had an accident with your carriage on your journey."
"Yes, my lord, and Lord Rob was kind enough to invite me to Winterfell and send men to help with the carriage."
"Nonsense. Please, welcome to our home. You can stay as long as you need until your carriage is fixed."
"You are very kind, Lord Stark."
"Father," John asked, "may I have a word?" "Of course. Rob, have a room prepared for our guest. I'm sure he could use some rest before supper. It can't be an easy journey from the Reach."
Rob nodded, and Ned and John went into the Lord's study. John explained his idea.
Let me see if I understand, Ned said, hiding a smirk. You want to take in a man threatened to death by his father? Father, please. You've seen him. He's not going to be happy, or even useful in the Night's Watch. He said he left because his father wanted his brother out to inherit. But what if he renounces his claim, even without joining the Watch? Won't it have the same effect? Yes, it would. As long as the Crown recognises it, at least. So, if the King says so, his father's threat is gone. He would no longer be the heir. No, he would not. And if you're friends with the King, couldn't you ask him for this decree? I suppose I could. So the next issue would be how to live if he's renounced his birthright. Well, you told me to start building my household. I could have him as an advisor. I don't know.
Ned sighed, though he was amused.
John, you don't even know if he's wise enough for that.
I'll have Mr. Lewin test him tomorrow, and if not, I'll find him another position.
Please, Father.
Ned chuckled.
It's your household, son. If that is what you want, then that is how it shall be. And I'll write to King's Landing. But let me write to Lord Starling. If he is this difficult,
then maybe it is better that the Lord comes from the Warden of the North, rather than a young lord.
Thank you, Father.
John smiled as he left the room. Ned smiled as well.
Oh, Leah, you'd be proud of him. He is just like you.
Sam was shocked as John explained his idea. Maester Lewin had just left the Great Hall, after rapping his ankle, and declaring it was only bruised and would be fine with a bit of rest.
You want me to join your household?
Sam asked, still disbelieving.
Yes, if you want, that is.
But why?
Because I'm building my household, and I think you should be free to choose where you want to live. I've told you, the Night's Watch is not your place.
I don't even know what to say.
You have time to think. I know your father is expecting you to go straight to the wall, but no one will question it if you halt your journey so you can attend a wedding, and then return to the road after the ceremony. Especially if you receive a personal invitation from the Warden of the North. I mean, your carriage will take at least 10 days to be ready, they say, and by then we'll be too close to the ceremony. You're already here, might as well enjoy it. And if you stay, it won't matter that you're delayed.
Oh, that's... I mean...
Think, Sam. I mean it.
John turned to leave the room and saw Benjamin standing in the door.
Uncle Benjamin! I didn't know you were coming today.
Benjamin smiled, turning to John. I was getting tired of the constant yammering from the construction. I feel like it would never leave my ears.
Sorry, Uncle Benjamin, John said apologetically.
Whatever for?
That you're so uncomfortable there. I know you're only there.
Benjamin put a hand on his shoulder. I'm not uncomfortable, John. I'm there because I chose to be there. I would have left Winterfell anyway, so why shouldn't I leave to do something useful? John smiled.
Thank you. But, Uncle, you're giving me a look. Why?
Benjamin chuckled, shaking himself out of his thoughts. Nothing. Nothing but the muses of an old man. It's just... I saw what you did back there, with the boy. Reminds me of... He blinked, catching himself.
I'm proud of you, John. You did a good thing, expecting no reward.
There are not many people in this world who would do the same. Benjamin left quietly and quickly. His loneliness was getting to him, and finding Ned in the crypts couldn't have helped. John was left watching his uncle's retreating form. Who did he remind Benjamin of? Daenerys sighed, looking over the clothes scattered in front of her. She and Isla had taken over preparations for the fast-approaching celebrations, and were now expecting what Lady Stark had thought appropriate to set aside. John had said he had talked to his father, and was taking over the running of their household, so he had given her a budget for clothing. Lord Stark insisted on paying for the feasts.
Well, I'm not surprised, but...
Daenerys said. The clothes and cloth were simple, except for her wedding dress, which would be paraded in front of the North. The problem was John's clothes, or rather, the poor bundle of leather and linen that was supposed to become his wedding clothes. Of course, Catelyn hadn't chosen anything good.
Well,
Isla started with a chuckle. She'll get what's hers, milady. We all do. Though sometimes those who don't deserve suffer at the hands of monsters. Daenerys narrowed her eyes, taking a good look at the woman. Her skin was pale, not sun-kissed, but it still didn't look like the fresh milk colour of those who were born in the north, with no relation to the southern kingdoms. That by itself wouldn't stand out, except that Isla's accent sometimes slipped. On some words she forwent the natural northern inflection for something that sounded far and foreign. You're not northern, are you? Dany asked. No, Isla answered simply. I was born nowhere near these parts. How did you come to be here? Isla smiled. The years in Winterfell had taken the sun bronze from her skin, making her as pale as the people around her. And being from the Red Mountains meant she didn't share the Rhoynar features common in her Dornish countrymen. Her hair was brown enough to fool Lady Stark, though, and no one questioned her brown eyes. Once a lady was kind to me, and I swore to serve her in turn, she explained, though it wasn't without its troubles. You look awfully familiar, Dany insisted. I've been working the laundry in this castle for years, my lady. You were but a girl of 7 when I came. It's been long enough for you to have seen me around. But Daenerys shook her head. I had the impression it was from somewhere else. But anyway, who was the lady? It couldn't have been Lady Stark. Catelyn Tully doesn't look to me like one to make kindness, milady, Isla said derisively. I don't think she would have done what the lady did. I was but a girl of 4 and 10 when the lady tried to save my babe. Her husband, too. He sent his maester to help. That's why I'm here. So it was Lord Stark? You're too curious, milady. Tell you what, one day I'll tell you my story. I think you'll like it. But today we've got work to do. We have your betrothed's wardrobe to make, and, if I can be so bold, milady, a bonfire to make with these rags. Daenerys only laughed, and soon her curiosity was drowned in one of the silly tales of married life her new housekeeper was telling. Jon was taking a break from training, sitting on the fringes of the training yard with Sam, and watching Robb and Theon cross swords. They passed a water skin between them, commenting on the duel as the two fought. Robb was destroying the Ironborn, of course, but Jon knew things would change when they got the bow out. And you're sure your father won't mind? Sam asked for what seemed to be the 20th time. He won't, I've told you, Jon insisted. He was the one who told me to build my household. I need an advisor to handle all the taxes. I'm bad with numbers, and I don't have the patience for them. Maester Lewin tells me you do. Sam blushed. I like reading. And the library! Oh, how I wish Hornhill had half the books you have here. I'm sure Maester Lewin will love having you here. Really? Really, Jon chuckled. He always complains we don't read enough. Though I take my lessons seriously. If I'm to be lord of a castle in a trading post, I must know what trade lines are there. I've read amazing things about the Blessed Island, Sam agreed. Have you been there yet? No. I didn't want to go without Dany. Daenerys, Jon explained at Sam's confused look. It was Arya's nickname for her when she was a toddler. She couldn't pronounce Daenerys, so she said Dany. And it stuck. Oh, right. She'll insist you call her that too. Oh, I couldn't. Nicknames are for family and friends. Jon chuckled. Don't worry. You're part of the household now, not some visitor. Once Dany is done with you, you'll be her friend, family, or mortal enemy. Sam widened his eyes. I'm not sure how reassuring that was. Jon laughed, and soon Sam joined in as well. A fortnight passed by faster than Jon could anticipate, and now he walked into the great hall with his heart racing. It wasn't like he hadn't known this was coming ever since he was old enough to understand marriages, alliance titles and such. But it still gave him a thrill to kneel before his father, wearing fine clothes. It was his name day, a fortnight before the wedding, and almost all of the northern lords were already in Winterfell, which made the ceremony all the more nerve-wracking.
Do you swear to protect your land and your people against any threat that might wish to cause them harm?
Ned asked.
I swear it. Do you swear to be fair to your vassals, and only ask of them what they could offer, and protect them and their families from enemies and famine?
I swear it.
Do you pledge your loyalty to House Stark, to the Warden of the North, to serve as our bannerman, and come to our aid whenever called upon? My sword is yours, my loyalty is yours, now and for the rest of time. Do you swear fealty to your king, Robert of the House Baratheon, the first of his name, King of the Andals, Rhoynar and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, and Protector of the Realm?
I swear it.
Arise, Lord John of House Starling, Lord of the Blessed Island. May the old gods smile upon you and your sons.
There was a round of applause as the banners went down, revealing themselves to the public for the first time. The following feast was loud and lasted well into the night, and for once Jon could enjoy it without the shadow of Lady Stark over him. She was present, of course, though Ned was still not speaking to her. Her punishment, however, seemed to also free Sansa from the deception of not treating Jon as her brother in public. Catelyn would have had all her children stay clear of him, but Robb, being the same age, was too happy to have a friend to care. Arya worshipped the very ground Jon walked on, and Bran and Rickon were too small to understand completely. So that left Sansa. But the girl had always liked Jon. Being friends with Daenerys diminished her mother's petty influence, so she only pretended in public to not cause trouble.
So,
Sam said as Robb and Theon went to chase ladies and left them alone at their part of the table,
you are Lord Starling now?
Aye, finally.
Sam frowned.
I have a feeling there's some hidden meaning behind the sentiment. You did tell me this morning you couldn't wait to marry Dany.
Sorry, it's just... Jon sighed. I know it feels like I'm complaining about the whole pot of gold I just found. It's just...
Jon, we might not have known each other very long, but you don't strike me as someone who complains about your good fortune.
For so long, Jon started, lowering his words,
though the feast was loud enough to drown out his voice.
I was only Ned Stark's bastard, the boy betrothed to Lady Daenerys Targaryen. I loved my father, and I loved Dany. I just... He sighed. I guess I just want to be my own person. To be known for myself, and not because of my father broke his vows, or because the king wanted to shame Dany.
Oh, that's quite sensible, actually. I'd never thought about that.
He blushed then.
And I'm embarrassed now. That's the first thing I said when you introduced yourself.
Don't worry. I know you didn't do it on purpose.
Look, Jon, in the world we live in, it takes work if we want to be known for ourselves. Even your brother. He'll be Ned Stark's son and heir, until the day he does something that earns himself recognition. Even after he's Lord Stark, the Northern Lords will see him as Ned Stark's son, until he says, "No, I'm not just Ned Stark's son, I'm Robb Stark." You have a name now, and soon we'll be living on the Blessed Island. Show people that you can be more than Ned Stark's bastard and Lady Daenerys' husband. Show them that you can be a good lord, but more than that, show them that you are Jon Starling. If you want an identity, go out there and get yourself one.
I'm not so sure how reassuring that was, Jon called back with a smile.
Sam joined in the laughter, and soon they had resumed the festive aura from the party around them. Lord Manderley came, dragging Jon to the high table to talk to Ned about the incoming shipments from Essos. Ned dismissed the conversation easily enough, claiming that it was a day to party, not work. And Jon slipped away, passing his little sister on the way back to Sam. Jon scolded, putting Arya's hand down as the girl prepared to throw something at their sister.
Behave!
She pouted. Oh, come on!
No, Arya. That And this is not...
Don't say it's not ladylike. I don't want to be a lady.
John chuckled. I was going to say it's not nice, but all right. Now, come on, behave or no lessons for a week.
Arya pouted, but relented, too excited for her sword lessons to risk it. John turned to Daenerys, reaching out to grasp her forearm, squeezing it gently. Her hand moved up to grasp his fingers, squeezing it back in turn, lacing their fingers together. He smiled and glanced around to make sure no one was looking, and when he saw that no one was paying attention, he leaned down to place a sweet kiss on his forehead.
Enjoying yourself?
John asked, entranced by the shining of her purple eyes. She smiled up at him, eyes bright and full of love. We just got our house, she said softly. Of course I am. He smiled back, picking up their goblets for a toast.
To our future.
End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. I like that chapter. And I can see where John's coming from. Being known as one thing or another, I get that. My sister was quite well known in my school, and for a very long time I was only this girl's younger sister, and it got a bit frustrating. Not that I don't love my sister, and not that I wasn't proud of the accomplishments she has. But you have to find something that's yours, don't you? And I like that John is immediately like, hold the phone, something's going on here, why is this guy doing this? But it's not suspicion in terms of not liking Sam. It's suspicion of, this isn't who you are. I can already tell, so why are you doing this? And then immediately just like, hell no, that's not happening, you're staying with me. Just like, protective already, I love that. And I like how, even though John's not going to the wall in this, he's still friends with Sam. I like that. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.